judgment, judgment, judgment. Final judgment, final judgment, final judgment, final
Man, oh man, what a time to come back. It's been a minute, right? Sometimes you got to take a little time off. I wouldn't say get the juices flowing again, but just take care of some other business before you get back in front of the stage where you want to be. I am Tony Jigsaw Cutillo. This is the Final Judgment right here, brought to you by Heat Ratio Sports and Win Daily Sports. Obviously, give us a follow on both formats, and also make sure you're following the page, the Final Judgment page, where these videos will come back and alive once again. Got a lot of things cooking, but one thing's not cooking. That's the Philadelphia 76ers. So I want to hear from you, man. I want to hear you speak out. You know, so many people, we go back and forth, and it's been some time since I've been live behind the microphone on this platform right here, but I just had to do it. I was working some stuff up for next week, and I was like, you know what? I'm coming back. But you know what? Tonight had to be the night. You know, this was unprovoked. Okay, this was unplanned, but I'm watching this game. I'm sitting there watching it, and in the second quarter, I said to myself, I already know I'm going to have to do a show tonight. I already know that we're going to have to talk about this game, because all of the people, and I'm going to get hyped for a minute, but all the people that told me this 76ers team was different, all the people that said this year feels different. I don't know what it is, whether they called the radio show, whether they got on YouTube, whether they go on social media, and they all said, I'm telling you, this year feels different. Did you just watch that game? Did anything about that game make you feel different from last year and the year before and the year before that? Did any of that make you feel different? Didn't make me feel any different. It made me feel the same exact friggin' way as it did the last 2 to 3 years. This was the same exact kind of lackluster effort that you get again from this team. An absolute disgrace. It's a disgrace. My man Bill checking it. It is an absolute disgrace. You got a guy playing on one leg, okay? The only guy that was playing all night was Joel Embiid, the guy who held up the trophy, the guy who was the MVP and deservingly so, getting triple team, quadruple team, and still trying to make it happen. Why James Harden reverts back to the Houston James Harden that nobody wanted to see. And this was the problem. Remember when I got on these airwaves before, and I specifically said that it's going to be extremely hard for the Philadelphia 76ers to win a championship with just Joel Embiid being their main offensive weapon. Are you telling me I have to go through the playoffs and rely on George Niang to hit three-point shots? Listen, if we're going to rely on George Niang to hit three-point shots, pack it in now. Don't even show up in game 4, and let's just call it a day. It's not going to happen. This team is not constructed in that way. I love that PJ Tucker. I love that PJ was knocking down shots. I love it. I give him all the credit in the world. But if we have to rely as a 76ers unit on PJ Tucker going 3 for 4, hitting three-point shots, we are going to be in trouble. I don't know what everybody's saying. This is exactly what I was afraid of. This is the same thing that we've witnessed year in and year out with this team. I don't know where else to go. And you know what? You're absolutely right, Bill. Tyrese Maxey, where was Tyrese? I love giving credit where credit is due. Okay. If everybody doesn't know, I host a show, the Win Daily Show on Sirius XM every Sunday from 7 to 9 a.m. Every Sunday. I also host every once in a while on Friday and Saturday night. Well, 2 weekends ago, I had the man, Kai Carlin, on. Hey, go give him a follow at KY_CARLIN. He's the beat reporter for the Philadelphia 76ers. Okay. And he was on Sirius with me. He was on the show. And he said, Tony, I'm not sold. It's the guy who covers a team on a consistent basis. He said, Tony, I'm not sold. And you know why I'm not sold? You got guys like Tyrese Maxey that I'm not, listen, 10.2 points per game average against the Boston Celtics. Tyrese Maxey, I love the kid. He's nothing but an energetic spark plug. I do. I love him. But when you can't trust Tyrese Maxey on the court in the last minute and a half of game 3 on your home court, then what the hell is going on? This is my point. If you can't trust certain players in pressure situations when you need them, guys that you have to rely on in the regular season, come playoff time, they soften up because this Boston team, who is stronger, who is more physical, punked you out. That's a problem. This is a problem. This is a problem people have to pay attention to. My man Bill says Doc can't coach this offense. Listen, I'll tell you what, Bill. Honestly, the one thing I will give Doc can't teach heart. Doc can't teach effort. Listen, I'm a firm believer. I'm with you. Doc, again, I get it. I do. I want to kill Doc too. I always want to kill Doc. That's who I am. I've always killed Doc. But the problem is you need to give some effort, right? Listen, I'll give you a perfect example. When my soccer team goes out and gets punched in the mouth and they lose 5-0, okay? They lose 5-0, look nothing like the team that we practice with and scrimmage with. What do? I put them in position to make the right plays, but I can't teach heart. I can't teach effort. Some days they have it, some days they don't, right? The problem is this team is constructed with players sometimes who have no heart. Come on, man. You can't. Listen, James Harden, say what you want. James Harden's got to wait until 3 minutes in the fourth quarter to actually play. I mean, did anybody else see this? Is anybody else concerned about this? This is a major problem. I don't understand. I don't understand what people were telling me when this team was different. I don't get it. This is the same exact team. This is the same exact team that lost game 7 against Atlanta, that Trae Young, who I can't stand, on our home court. This is the same team. This same team that got punched them out by Toronto. It's no different. You cannot take this out of this team. You just can't. We're going to continue to get our hearts punched and ripped out every single time. My man Eric checking in says, Glenn and Harden need to go. Says, I'll drive Harden to the airport. Oh, well, you don't have to drive. You know what, Eric? You can drive. He's probably going to go back to Vegas to go to the strip club because that's what he likes to do anyway. Okay, because that's what he's worried about. Hey Doc, can I get some time off so I can go, make it rain in the strip club? Like, come on, man. I get it. Doc wants to say he's a grown man. Listen, when you come out with lackluster efforts like that in game 2 and game 3, then yes, you have every right to be criticized for your behavior in between games. I don't care what anybody says. You could say what you want. They're normal players. I don't care. You're a professional. You're getting paid millions and millions of dollars. Get with it, man. Okay, if you can't hold out from the strip club for a couple days, maybe you need to check yourself and you need to do something else. My man Bill says, too much attention on it. But you know what? I'll give you that, Bill. Honestly, I could give two shits about MVP right now. I want to win a trophy. Okay, I'm glad he got it. I understand. And congratulations, well deserved. But at the end of the day, for me, for my money, listen, I don't care right now because I need to get past the second round. Because again, this is going to bring me back to a conversation that I had in the beginning of the year. And I'm sorry, I'm so passionate right now. I'm going crazy. It's been so much time because I'm so pissed off. Okay, I sat there and said again that eventually, your MVP. Okay, your Joel Embiid is going to walk into that front office and say, "Get me the hell out of here." Because guess what? I am absolutely killing myself. And whenever I look around, Joel Embiid. I mean, let me ask you something. Who noticed? Okay, with Joel Embiid had to tell James Harden to attack. He had to tell James Harden to attack. Like my mind is blown with this. So James Harden, okay, your legitimate second scorer that you're saying is going to take us out and take us to the promised land. Our MVP had to tell him and instruct him, "Yo, man, you need to play." Really? I'm at a loss, man. I'm at a loss. My man Joe checking in. Nobody matches Embiid's effort. It's sad, and they're too slow. Man, Boston was dropping daggers. My man Sia checking in. Says, I don't want to be on the wrong side of lack of effort on a Tony Cutillo coach soccer team. Listen, Sia, I'm telling you, man, I just hope we have this camera. It's called a trace camera. And what it does is actually it videos the entire game. Every player gives them their own heat map and this and that. So, but it's close to the sideline. So I always like give the parents a warning. Listen, you're probably going to hear things you probably don't want to hear on the sideline. You either put it on mute or please, I ask you to give me a pass because you can imagine what comes out of Jigsaw on the sideline. My man Mike checking in says out hustled all game 100%. Mike 100%. Maxie had a few floorboards he didn't go 100% after. Exactly. This is the problem. You know, I don't know, Mike, I know you notice this because I know you watch like I do. You're a North boy like I was. You're a city boy. I know you're Juniata. I'm with Sonoma. I get it. So you understand and you watch these things, right? So I know for a fact that you know as well as I do that he's emulating his game after Harden way too much. Tyrese Maxey is turning into a junior James Harden, and you better be careful on what you wish for. And that's not always good. Okay, if you're going to emulate your game after Harden. And all I mean by that is when we talk about effort and we talk about hustle and we talk about consistency, I need you to be Tyrese Maxey. I don't want you to be James Harden. I'm going to tell you that right now. Take that. Anybody can take that statement, whatever they want. I need you to be Tyrese Maxey. I need you to be Tyrese Maxey, the spark plug, the dude who hustles after everything, the dude that's got the PJ Tucker strength on the floor, going after balls, you know, having confidence, driving at will. I need you to be Tyrese Maxey. I don't need you to be James Harden. I'm going to say that again. So Eric says, this series feels like it's over. I hate to admit it, Eric, but I completely agree. Sorry, it just feels over. He says, I've been saying this all season that Harden would be the downfall. Ivan, it's tough to win against a stronger team like Boston without heart. That is a great statement right there because that sums it up. We already knew that Boston was stronger. We already knew that. Okay, there's a reason why they were favored. There's a reason why, not because Joe was hurt, because they are the stronger team. And the only way you strong yourself or you will yourself against competition that's stronger is you grab that heart, right? You grab that courage to be able to take you and will yourself to a win. And exactly the statement, it's tough to win when you don't have that, 100%. Joe says, Maxey up for a max. I stick to commercials and smiling. He disappears like Tobias. Joe, I'll give it to you, man. Always with the fantastic heat here and the fantastic comments. Maxey up for a max, and you gotta be careful, man. Again, you gotta be careful because here's what I will say, and I hope everybody understands this. You know what you have to understand is you have to look at these players right now. Throw all that garbage out that happened in the regular season. Throw it all out. When you face adversity and your backs are up against the wall and you're playing at your home court in an environment that's, listen, it's advantageous to you, the player, and you still come up small, well, guess what? That's what you're going to be judged on. That's what you're going to be judged on, not that regular season garbage. You're going to be judged on right now. Right now. This is what you're going to be judged on. And that's a problem. There's no way in hell. I don't want to hear any excuses. I get it that Joe had to get back in shape and this and that with game 2. That's fine. But where was everybody else? Where was everybody else? That is, listen, unexcusable what happened in that game. And now all it did, what did it do? It carried on over to game 3. Eric says, this is why I can't stand Harden. Mike says, Maxey Harden, 7 for 30. 7 for 30. Tyrese Maxey -9, James Harden -21. Combined a -21 from James Harden and Tyrese Maxey. Oh, by the way, our man Tobias Harris, a -18 with a stellar 7 points for $42 million a year. Great job, Tobias. Great job. As always, thank you for stepping up. Eric says, I feel you, Tony. I feel the same exact way. My man Coop Dog checking in says, truth. 100. See, Coop knows. Coop knows what I'm talking about. Willie says, who scored 45 points at gate? Exactly. Right? Where was that game 1? James Harden. What did he throw it all out on the line, Bill? Is he done now? Is that it? Eric says it's Ben Simmons game 7 all over again with Harden. You know what? That's a great point. Eric, I swear to God, when I saw James Harden pass up 2 7-foot shots, I was like, this is Ben Simmons all over again. And I hate that we're even giving Ben Simmons airtime. I hate that. But it's so goddamn true. Like, what? Like, I'm sorry. You are like damn near a 10-year veteran in the NBA with multiple max contracts, and you're lacking confidence? You're lacking confidence? Nah, man, that's not what it is. That's not what, you know what that is? I just packed it in. You could say what you want. I'll call him out. You packed it in. You said, I don't have it. I'm done. You packed it in. That's what that was. That's not trying to get your teammates involved. That's not saying we're not gelling the right way. And, we got to get used to Joby back on the foot. Stop all that nonsense. You're a professional NBA basketball player getting paid millions upon millions upon millions of dollars to shoot a basketball through who, because you are a premier scorer, not an elite scorer, a premier scorer in the NBA. So when you show up and you shell out that kind of effort, yes, you are going to be questioned. And rightfully so. Rightfully so. Again, this team cannot win relying on George Niang. I'm just saying. They can't. Joe says, I never thought Embiid would ever demand a trade. His frustration was clear, and I can see him now wanting a new team and culture. Joe, I remember, and Joe, again, make sure you give him like this video, like, subscribe. I can't say it enough. Like, subscribe to this channel. This is my own channel that I absolutely love, that I'm bringing back. I want to continue to keep the heat coming. Okay, but also make sure you subscribe to those affiliates, Heat Ratio Sports and Win Daily Sports, and make sure you're following me on Sirius XM as well. I'll be hosting tomorrow night on Sirius from 5 to 7 on channel 87, and I'll also be hosting, like I do every Sunday morning, from 7 to 9 a.m. on Sirius XM channel 87. So make sure you check it out. It's the Win Daily Show. There's a host of us there. I just happen to be able to host and be blessed to host on Sunday morning. So I love every minute of it. I'd love for you guys to get involved. If you are a subscriber, I get if you're not, but if you are, I'd appreciate the support. Bill says, what happened to grabbing the ball with 2 hands? North Catholic 84. My man Bill representing the NC Falcons, the alumni, baby. We got to go with 84, 96 right here. I know I'm showing my age too. Bill, you already showed your age, so why don't I show my age, right? What the hell? But listen, real fast, I want to go back to this comment that Joe says about Embiid never demanded trade. I caught a lot of heat. Just like I do. It's the reason why I have the nickname Jigsaw, right? I caught a lot of heat in the beginning of the season when I came out and I said, listen, this is going to be Joel Embiid will demand a trade at the end of this year if we do not get to the finals. He will finally say enough is enough. I need to go and win. Listen, you're starting to see it right now with Damian Lillard, right? I love Dame. Right, Dame is listen, I'll tell you what, if you have a son who's playing basketball and you want to emulate your game, emulate him off a guy like Dame, obviously off of Steph Curry because he is the GOAT. But I'm saying the whole package of Damian Lillard. And you know what? Yeah, and Steph Curry, guys who stayed loyal, guys who haven't gone away, guys who say, you know what, I'm going to fight through thick and thin, and I'm going to try to make this team. Now, obviously, Steph, because he is the GOAT, has had a better ride because of draft picks and trades and signings, and Dame continued to stick it out. But you're starting to see the cracks in the armor with Damian Lillard now. You're starting to see the cracks where he says, you know what, it might be time to go because, listen, the dude's throwing all the effort in the world. He wants to win a ring. That's what he wants. And guess what? Joel Embiid, listen, let me ask you this, guys. How many years do you really think of prime time Joel Embiid play can we expect? Before this year, I said 3. Okay, with this being one of them. So what do you got, 2 more years? Like, think about that. You're wasting this again. And I know everybody's like, oh, it's Jigsaw, it's not over, man. Come on, man. Listen, this is Boston. This is who they are. They got dogs on that team, man. They got dogs on that team, and we just can't hold a candle to them. My man Greg checking in says disappointing after the Embiid MVP presentation. And again, man, shout out. I love the picture of Nolan up there. Rest in peace, Brian Nolan. Yeah, Greg, man, I agree. You have that heartfelt moment. You have the jubilation of the stands, his mom, his dad, his sister, everybody's there, his kids running up to him. You see him shed a tear, showing that sensitive side of Joel, the father-like figure that we all can all connect to, right? We understand. I get it. And again, I love, and they just bury it. They just bury it, man. Like that can't happen. These lackadaisical efforts on your home floor cannot happen. And you know what? I'm not watching Doc. I'm sure Doc is spewing this a different way right now. I could just imagine, yeah, no big deal. Doc, stop with that. Stop with that. This is unacceptable. 100% unacceptable. Look, I'll go. Let me look at my other screen. So we got Tobias Harris, right? Shoots 3 of 6. 6 attempts from Tobias Harris. 6 field goal attempts by Tobias Harris. Thanks for showing up, Toby. Thanks. I appreciate that. In your 25 minutes, you mustered 6 shots. Congratulations. Hell of an effort. Tyrese Maxey, 4 of 16 for 25% from the field. 3 of 9, 33% beyond the arc. Okay, a minus 19, 13 points for Tyrese Maxey. Again, Boston sticking it to him once again. Let's get to James Harden. 3 of 14, 21%. Might be his worst game ever in the playoffs. Okay, 2 of 7 for 28% from beyond the arc. Okay, a nice minus 12 from James. Okay, great. He had 11 to 6. He gave out the ball half the time because he couldn't shoot. Right, so let's relax. And DeAnthony Melton, listen, DeAnthony Melton probably played the hardest out of anybody. Right, he was actually a +1. Played the hardest out of anybody. 40% from the field, 57% from 3. He did it all. Played some terrific defense. But he can't do everything on his own. We need more. My man Adam checking it says, bad night for Philly, leaving the Phillies game. Boston has our number twice night, which means, as we saw, again, we made Chris Sale become a legend again with 10 strikeouts for the Phillies. They lose 5-3. Again, a ridiculous effort again at home against Chris Sale, who's absolutely shot. Stop it, man. He started off throwing 99, and then we started with 93, and we still couldn't get to him. I mean, it's 10 strikeouts. Unbelievable. Bill says the fans didn't deserve that. We never do, Bill. We never, ever do. Eric says both Boston teams come in our city and beat up our teams is so disheartening. It really is. Ivan checking in again says, I don't know if you watch hockey, but the Kings were outmatched talent-wise, but Hart got to them Game 7 last year and Game 6 this season against a great Oilers squad. A great point. Hart, again, can be that deciding factor. Man, when you guys are neck and neck, and maybe you give away a little bit to the superior team, that heart can mean so much more. We've seen it all the time. There's a drive and a desire to be great, and I'm sorry, you cannot coach that. You can't teach that. You just can't. It's as simple as that. You got to want it, man. You got to want it, and I'm telling you, if you don't want it on your home court, where you relished in the idea of your star getting the MVP, knowing that you threw up a terrible effort in Game 2. I don't know what else you need, man. I don't know what else you need. Joe says playing for regular season whistles doesn't translate to the postseason. They don't get calls. They can't finish strong. I'll tell you, and that's the thing about Maxey, right? Emulating that James Harden play, right? James Harden's always throwing his hands up. Where's the whistle? Transition defense means nothing. The team's already beating them down the court again. Okay, we can't even catch up because we're still worrying about a call that you didn't get. It's not going to change things, James. It's not going to change. You didn't get it. It's over. Move on. And now I got Tyrese Maxey doing the same damn thing, sitting on the floor, watching the same thing, complaining about calls you didn't get, man. Get over it. Get over it. Well, Bill says I had too many flashbacks in that game. My man Tank checking in says Harden did the same thing last year in the playoffs. Absolutely, Tank. We're watching the same damn thing all over again. We're going to continue to watch the same thing. And let me ask you guys this before I go. And again, tremendous with the comments, fellas. Tremendous with ladies, guys, whoever. I completely appreciate it. It's great. Keep it going. You know me. For those who don't know me, I could probably talk all night. That's what I love to do. But how disheartening is it that we have to watch every year and these teams like a Boston just come in and smack us in the mouth? And you always say, we always hear about, Philly's always in the news. We're making all these big time moves, or we're making this, we're making that. And then you just watch assassins like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum just stick it in our mug. Marcus Smart, Al Horford. How many people just want to go in the screen and just punch it when Al Horford, what do you go? Let me check the 5 for 7 from 3. Al Horford, 71% from Al friggin' Horford. Okay, he goes 75% from the floor, 71% from the perimeter. Okay, a plus 13 from the old ass Hal Horford, who couldn't do anything here in Philadelphia. But all of a sudden, he goes and finds the fountain of youth. He goes and sees a Wizard of friggin' Oz, and all of a sudden now he's a different guy when he comes and plays us. I mean, this is all the time, man. Like, it's all the time. You've felt it, and it's, oh my God, it's gut-wrenching. It really, really is. Eric says Harden is jealous of him. I don't know about that. I don't think he's jealous of Embiid. Harden's a weird individual. He says, I wonder why all of a sudden Harden wants to go back to Houston. No, you know what? It's not that, man. I'm telling you, man. I think I'm going to say this again, and I guarantee you, right? I guarantee you that James Harden said, I'm going to go to Philly for a couple years, try to win a ring. It's my best shot. You know why? Because I probably got enough in the tank to possibly get it done, but I already know it's not going to last more than a couple years because I can't stand the media out there. I don't want the attention, and I want to ride off in the sunset with a team that, you know what? Is it going to be? They might be competitive, but I know the expectations are never going to be there. So that's exactly what James is doing. Think about it. It's his MO, man. It's exactly what he's doing. If he doesn't win this year, let's go back to Houston. You know why? The expectations are low. Name somebody in the Houston friggin' media. Tell me that. Name somebody in the Houston media. Exactly. I'll wait. Nobody cares in Houston. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Okay? That's my point. Nobody cares, and that's why he wants to go there. Sia says Sixers with the Miami Heat heart would be legit. Oh, and Spoelstra. Sia, you know as well as I do. I have a 100% huge man crush on Jimmy Butler. And Eric Spoelstra, I've been on record. I'll say it again. Best coach in the NBA that never gets talked about enough. Bar none, best coach in the NBA. That team, steered by, don't forget, my man Pat Riley, right? Out there again, just making moves. Okay, these picks and these undrafted Gabe Vincent, Max Strus. Like, we can't. I got Korkmaz riding Pine on a freaking. I got Sugar Shake, Sniper Shake. Where's Sniper Shake at? Right? He can't even get in the game because he's not good enough. But these guys are taking guys off the trash heap, right? Turning them into actual superstar. Oh, and why are they doing that? Because Jimmy Butler. Because Jimmy Butler demands. He demands effort. That's why that stiff Ben Simmons couldn't play with Jimmy Butler. Okay, and shout out, thank you, Brett Brown, for choosing Ben Simmons over Jimmy Buckets. I really appreciate that, Brett. Did a hell of a job with that. You really helped us out because now I have to sit here and watch Jimmy Buckets just obliterate teams to get his guys like Gabe Vincent, guys like Max Strus, even getting the best out of Kevin friggin' Love, who's way past his prime. Okay, but again, it's because of the passion. It's because of the heart and the effort. Man, just can you guys just think about this? Think about what we're talking about. If we could just take James Harden out and insert Jimmy Buckets to this team, you think Tyrese Maxey would be playing the way he is at times against ball? Hell no. Hell no. Would Tobias Harris be playing? No, because Jimmy would not allow it. He's a general on the floor. That's the issue. And again, what happens? Nothing. Again, my man Eric says, I can't lie. Watching the Lakers and Warriors is night and day. But watching Sixers, man, it absolutely is, man. You watch, listen, shout out again. Again, Michael is my guy. You see the jersey right there. Okay, Michael's my guy, obviously. But for my kids and people's kids are watching this right now, it's the LeBron generation, right? LeBron is their Jordan. And for a guy 36, 37, 38, 39 years old to be able to be a physical specimen at that age is absolutely mind-boggling to me. So I got to give him the credit that he deserves with that. Rich says, you got to go hard at basketball. Stop looking for calls. Rich, you know it, man. Congratulations on a new home as well, man. I hope everything's going on. 3 years more. Joe says, Embiid could have a shelf life that lasts as long as Tucker's deal. Great point, Joe. 3-year deal for PJ Tucker, right? Three-year deal for PJ Tucker, which again is exactly what's going to happen. Joel Embiid, I'm telling you, I don't. And here's, fellas, listen, I don't want to be right. I don't want to be right. I don't want that to happen, but it's going to happen. I keep saying it's going to happen. Rich says the secondary guys on the team have huge, so small. My man Ricky checking in. Right? Ricky knows typical playoff game from Harden. Typical playoff game. See, everybody knows. Everybody knows this is the typical lackluster effort from James Harden. James Harden's more worried about shoving dollar bills and G-strings out there on the Vegas Strip than he is to actually driving the net and helping his team win a game. It's simple as that. Right? Think about that. It's as simple as that. I compare this again. I always compare this to kids I coach, right? And on a lower level. Obviously, the kids I coach, well, maybe they are at that age want to go to the strip joint, but that's besides the point. But I'm sitting there thinking to myself, are you more worried about being on TikTok or playing your video game, or you actually want to come out here and play? Like, if you say to me, hey, coach, you mind on my day off that I go and play the video games instead of trying to run some rondos out my backyard or kicking a ball back and forth and getting my upper corner shot in play? Yeah, I'm going to question your effort. And that's exactly what we're talking about here with James Harden. And say what you want. Say what you want. Rich, absolutely. Beside Melton was the best guy on the floor tonight. I said it earlier. Best guy on the floor tonight. Right? Obviously besides Joel Embiid, right? That goes without saying, right? Joel is always the best guy on the floor. You never question Joel's effort, right? When Joe slows down, it's because he's tired. Because again, we've had this argument. It's extremely hard to win an NBA championship when your top offensive player is a center. Because it's a fast-flowing transition game of basketball that your center most likely is not going to handle. Think about it. Everybody talks about, Shaq did. No, Shaq did not do it. He had an amazing supporting cast, whether it's D-Wade or whether it's Kobe. Shaq, listen, AI didn't have the supporting cast, and neither does Joel Embiid. We're watching the same thing, people. We're watching it, right? I hope you all realize that. And people in Philadelphia probably know that. This is 2001, or those years, I would just say from 2000, 2003 all over again, right? This is, AI never having the supporting cast. Never, how many times did we go through guys, Glenn Big Dog Robinson, Chris Webber, Keith Van Horn, right? Name it. We were trying everybody. None of it worked. AI had to be the guy. But eventually, AI wasn't enough. And who was there to step up? Tony Kukoc, right? Nobody. This is exactly what's happening with Joel Embiid, man. Like, think about it. They're trying. It's never working. They missed the boat, man. They missed a boat. It was Jimmy Butler. That was the best chance to ever win a title. Okay. You can say whatever you want. Say Jigsaw's giving up. I'm not saying, I'm just saying that, this is an uphill battle that I do not feel this team is prepared for. Rich says at home, you want it more than the visitors. It's disgraceful that every effort they put out there tonight. It is. It's absolutely ridiculous. And yep, stop complaining. Rest. We're talking about that. Joe says heart, intelligence, talent. Usually need 2 of 3 to win. 100%, man. You have to, I say this all the time, Joe. You know this. It's just by watching your son on a bump out there in baseball, and from probably coaching yourself, right? You can't teach heart. You can't teach IQ. I say it all the time. I coached softball for many years, and certain girls, they would know when to cover a bag or when to back up. And I would say, listen, I could drill this into their heads as much as they want, but if they don't have softball IQ, they're never going to get it, right? They're never going to get it. You could drill it in as much as you want, but eventually you can't coach an entire team from the sideline. You can't, right? You have to hope that they understand the game flow and have an intelligence and an IQ enough to be able to get over that hump. And sometimes they don't, right? They don't. And that's a big problem. Adam says, did Doc check in yet? I don't even know, man. I don't even know. Like I said, I'm not even watching the press conference. Ricky said he's about to ask for a max. Of course he is. Of course he is. And you know what? He's going to get a max. He's going to get a max in Houston. And you know what? Good for him. He can go out there and he's not going to do anything. Rich says Jimmy makes everyone better around him. Absolutely, man. I miss Jimmy Butler so much. No, Jimmy would get in their ass if they weren't playing sport. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Joe says clean house. Maury, Brandon, Rivers go. Namesake. I'll tell you, man, Rich, or Joe, as well as I do, we've been on this same wagon, right, for many years, right? I keep saying we're going to regret not making Sam Cassell a head coach. I say that all the time. We're going to regret not making Sam Cassell a head coach. And I say that because he's going to get scooped up by somebody eventually, and he's going to be a head coach somewhere else, just like Amani Williams is, right? I listen. I know all the Udoka issues and stuff like that, but he was a Philadelphia 76ers assistant coach who, except for all the Nia Long stuff that happened before that, he was one of the best coaches in the NBA. Say what you want about Monty Williams, very well respected, very, very good coach in the NBA. I know Phoenix is having some issues right now, but again, it's really hard to gel like that with that kind of player coming in at the time they did. We'll see what happens. But Monty Williams, again, former assistant, goes out there and does good things for Phoenix. So I agree. We're going to lose them. We're going to lose them. Yeah, I did make a Kukoc reference, Joe. I did make a Tony Kukoc reference. I'm in a loss, fellas. I am. I mean, and I speak to that to everybody checking in. And if you're checking in and you haven't hit that like button yet, you haven't hit that subscription button yet, please make sure you do. If you're watching this on whatever platform you're on, make sure you're liking and subscribing. But also, if you're watching this on Facebook, if you're watching this on Twitter, if you're watching this on another YouTube page, make sure just go to the search and type in The Final Judgment with Tony Cutillo. The page will come up. You can like and subscribe to that channel. I'd appreciate all the support as we continue to do these post games when available, and we get back to some weekly content. I got an intern doing some fantastic things for me as far as putting quote images out there. We're gonna get a little more of that. We're gonna get into a lot in the coming days because I've been silent for too long, man. I got to start rolling again. And, I finally got my schedule squared away. Like I said, make sure you're tuning in to the Sirius show. If you have Sirius on channel 87XM to the Win Daily Show, you can catch us all weekend long, Friday night from 8 to 10, Saturdays from 5 to 7, and Sundays from 7 to 9. Sundays are the days that I host every single week. So if you want to tune in for that, I greatly appreciate it. Lines are always open as well. You can call in. The producer's hair will get you on the air if you have it to talk, whether it be local sports, national sports, whatever it is. I kind of mix it up. I try to keep it. Listen, it is the fantasy sports station. It is. So yes, we do talk fantasy sports. Yes, we do talk sports betting, but I talk all regular topical items as well. So you will hear local topics, you will hear local guests, you will hear national guests as well. My man Tank say, I hope that schedule includes play. Tank, I am planning my schedule. How's that? I am planning my schedule. You know that. I am always planning, right? I'm always planning ahead. I'm already planning next week's jobs ahead, which means the jobs right here, the real jobs. How's that? Joe says, thanks for letting me vent. Maybe next year will be the year. Yeah, listen, I want to thank everybody for letting me vent. This was fun. I'm sweating right now. So I'm going to go get a drink and I'm going to try to cool off because this has been, again, 39 minutes. This is what happens. I come on here and we just go strong. I don't think I stopped talking since I've been on here. So 40 minutes straight. I got to keep my voice because I got to host tomorrow. I'm pulling double duty this weekend. So if you're tuning in tomorrow, I'll be hosting tomorrow's show from 5 to 7, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern time on Sirius XM channel 87 for the Win Daily Show. So already tuning in. I really appreciate it. Make sure you keep it locked here. Make sure you're liking. Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you wait for the next week. I still got to break down this draft. Still got to break down what the hell's going on with the Phillies. And some national topics as well. Obviously, just like in general, the NBA playoffs, which have been fantastic in my opinion, and not enough to talk about. I can tell you that tons and tons and tons and tons to talk about. But like I always say on this show, some people have thoughts, some people have takes, but on this show, you get the final judgment.